Newfoundland is 0-3.
So looking at that, with New Brunswick having beat Prince Edward Island host, Prince Edward Island host is currently 2-2. New Brunswick at 2-1. So the worst they could fall to is 2-2, which because they beat the team with the same record, they would be advancing to the final no matter what. So the final, it will be a rematch of the game over on sheet 1 at the moment, New Brunswick and Nova Scotia.
And that is definitely a good game. It's too bad we couldn't sneak a camera over there at some points too. It's probably the game to watch right now.
It's definitely drawing a crowd, and it will as the game progresses.
And we'll keep you updated with the scoreboards. Also, on other sheets, on sheet 3, we see Prince Edward Island versus Newfoundland females. And also in female action, we see New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. So sheets 1 and 4, quite honestly, are the two more intriguing games.
They are, yeah. They're both, I believe they are actually both the same games as the final. I think they've both been determined already. So definitely teams wanting to have a good game in those in preparation for the big game this afternoon.
All right, now Vincent up here for Prince Edward Island. What do we see being formed here? Of course, a lot of stones right now outside of the house. Some guards in play.
Yes, Dylan Vincent just looking to, I think, play a hit and stick. I don't know if he will end up sticking there. Actually, he will. Gets a bit of a roll. May spin it a little too far. I think he just grabbed the edge of the 12-foot there and in behind cover. So, good shot there. But, yeah, quite a bit of granite out in front of the house already. None covering the center line, which is a bonus for Prince Edward Island. Or, sorry, Newfoundland and Labrador. But advantage PEI at the moment.
You know, this Newfoundland team, Brooks, has been together for 2 months now.
Yeah, they're a little inexperienced as far as when you look at the other teams here. Some of them, for example, the Nova Scotia men have been a team for 6 years, so that's definitely a big advantage for them compared to, as you said, the little under 2 months. So it may just be a problem with a bit of finding team chemistry and that. Also, like the Newfoundland scene, it tends to be a bit harder to get games in for them. So, other than the provincial, they wouldn't have had a lot of tournament play, so to speak.
Here is Jacob Wilkins now up for Prince Edward Island. His stone, lots of weight right now. Where is he trying to place this one?
He's just looking to wrap one around. It seems to have quite a bit of weight on this one. So if he can get in behind that guard and stick around, he'll be quite pleased.
This one very, very heavy.
Sliding back. Not going to come out the back, but definitely heavy. PEI is still quite all right with that, sitting 2 with both actually in behind cover.
Here is Craig Lang up now for Newfoundland. He plays 3rd out of this team, and this team very interesting too. They have 2 players based out of one city and 2 players based out of another. Jordan Carter the second and Matthew English the lead, both out of Corner Brook. Craig Lang and Ryan McNeil the skip, based out of Stephenville. So it's an interesting dynamic because those towns are about an hour apart. So also they don't get to practice together either.
No, yeah, Corner Brook and Stephenville are both on the west coast of Newfoundland. I've actually curled in both, and I played at the Corner Brook, both their curling clubs. So they are actually quite different clubs. Stephenville being an older one with some, at times, very slow ice, more of a traditional East Coast curling club. Well, however, Corner Brook is very new and seemed to be, at least during the national championship, very slick ice surface. So that may be a bit of a disadvantage when half the team is used to playing on completely different conditions.
Is there a gold standard for ice, and are we looking at it right here probably?
I'd say right now this is about the best you could get in the Atlantic provinces. It doesn't quite have the curl. That's the only slightly negative comment we've heard, is that it doesn't quite have the swing that some do, but the speed is very, very good. The surface itself is very clean, and the rocks are all, working very well for everyone. So we haven't had any complaints other than the fact that, you aren't getting arena-style curl, but definitely nothing to complain about.
You can ask any team here. They probably say they wish the ice wasn't as great as it is here because those stones are. We're seeing 2 or 3 a game just go right through the house.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely the miss that we're seeing most often would be a heavy shot. Teams tend to be overthrowing it, just misjudging how fast the ice actually is. This one really swinging towards that red guard. They will get it by as it swings in.
And this one just touches the forefoot now, right inside of the button. There's a good look.
That's a good shot there by Craig Lang.
And now Prince Edward Island left with a tough shot, like you said.
Yeah, they'll have to navigate that one with a fairly soft hit weight. Not wanting to mess around with the back yellows at all, if possible.
So up right now is the skip for Prince Edward Island. Here comes Leslie Noy. So this team here, based out of Alberton, Prince Edward Island, they have one member, Alex Gallant, out of Summerside, but most of these boys in western Prince Edward Island, and that's where they curl from.
Yeah, they've been around for a while and always representing the western tip of the island quite well. Not a ton of teams from up there, but they always have a good showing for that region. So this one really needing to curl in. Looks like it will just get by that yellow. So they'll be looking to move that red, not far enough.
And they wanted to do something more with the red.
Yeah, they would have liked to get more curl on that one. Might have just got a little wide on that, or the rock could have just hit a straight spot, I suppose. But yeah, not moving the red one sufficiently. So Newfoundland with a good chance here to sit 2.
So now we see some discussion right now. Of course, the thinking time, something we have to be mindful of. Right now, only about 2 minutes gone through for each team, so a pretty good start in that regard. And of course, each team does have 2 90-second timeouts too to use.
They do, yeah.
Now here comes the skip for Newfoundland. It is Ryan McNeil Lambswood. He is from the town of Stephenville. So he would curl in that older rink where the ice probably isn't quite as smooth.
Yeah, it is a good club, but definitely a little different than the surface in Corner Brook. So he has mentioned to me that it's a bit of an adjustment to make to get used to this fast of an ice surface.
Here is Lambswood right now. His team 0-3, looking to get into the bronze medal position. They need the win here to do it.
So
right now, this game knotted up 0-0 here in the first end.
Seems to be coming in fairly nice here. Wanting to keep this above the tee line. Good shot there by Ryan McNeil Lambswood. Does leave a double opportunity for Leslie Noy, but it's definitely not a gimme.
And where does this double opportunity come from?
Just the fact that by leaving that rock out in the open, it can be punched straight back and kind of pick the other red out of there and roll over the top. So just, again, not an easy shot by any means, but it is there if he chooses to play it, which he is.
The 17-year-old has been curling for 6 years. Goes to West Isle Composite, grade 11 there. You want to give a shout out to Sharon and Mike, who are watching back home. So here is the second last shot here in the first end. Are they going for the double?
They are. This one really needs to curl, though.
Not a bad shot,
no,
but
gets a bit of a lucky break by glancing off the top yellow guard there. So still leaves Newfoundland a draw for their second point.
So now we see an opportunity here for Newfoundland to cash in early with their hammer.
Yeah, they'll be pleased to pick up 2 in this end if this shot's made.
Is this a difficult shot for a player like Lambswood?
Not really. I mean, having just played it, I'm sure he's fine throwing the same shot again.
So here is McNeil Lambswood with his final shot here in the first.
This one looking quite heavy off the bat. Needs to move to get off that yellow guard. And another lucky break, so both skips taking slight advantage of a bit of a break off that yellow guard, but not a clean end for the final rocks there.
So after one end here on Belline Community 1, the score is 2-0 in favor of the Newfoundland team. Now Prince Edward Island with the hammer. After that pretty messy, aggressive first end played by Newfoundland, will we see much of the same here from the Island team?
It looks that way. I mean, the teams seem to be comfortable with that style. Both seem to play it quite a bit, so they'll be fine to keep that up, and hopefully Prince Edward Island looking to get a deuce back here.
So this shot by the lead of Newfoundland, that is Matthew English from Cornerbrook. His favorite curler is Russ Carter. It's probably Russ Howard, though, the more I look at that.
I'm not sure.
I'm looking at the notes here.
I'd have to assume
Russ Carter.
Russ Carter, but I mean, perhaps Russ Carter is just a local Cornerbrook legend.
Or maybe that's a shout-out. Maybe some of these notes got tangled up. So we either have a shout-out for Russ Carter, that's his favorite curler, Russ Carter, or it's a Russell Howard reference for his favorite curler. So
Either
one
way,
of three.
Either way, hello, Russ Carter, whoever you are and whatever you've done.
I'm sure there's a Russ Carter out there somewhere who's watching.
Somewhere listening to this that's feeling very honored.
I bet they are. And just a reminder, folks, if you want a shout out or to give any comments, questions, concerns to the broadcast, you can find us on Twitter for myself at Brett Poe or at Brett MBA, and you can find Brooks online at Brooks Roach on Twitter.
So a few other scores going up around the club. We see Newfoundland girls leading PEI, girls 1-0 after one end. New Brunswick has jumped to a 2-0 lead in women's action over Nova Scotia, and no score posted as of yet in the men's action.
Heavy sweeping right now. As this a Redstone travels down the center
really
line.
Crossing the center line hard. A little bit of an overcurl, but still a decent position for that stone.
Now you said some of the ice here doesn't curl as well. That one definitely looks like it curled plenty.
That's actually out the other side of that red guard, so that's a lot of curl from the hog line in.
And where's the rock most prone to curl?
Well, coming from the outside, from the wing in towards the button is typically the path where you'll see the most. But in general, overall, on the ice this good, you'll see roughly the same amount of curl in all spaces, all lanes of the ice, I guess. There's not a ton of inconsistency that we're seeing on this ice.
Here comes this Yellowstone. Almost, it does tick the Redstone.
Still, again, a decent spot, being right frozen to their own yellow on the top of the button.
And now quickly back up. Here is Newfoundland, their second, Jordan Carter. And his favorite curler, this makes more sense, Carter Rycroft.
Yes.
Yes.
Carter Rycroft of Team Canada, having lost last night in the semi-final at the World Men's Championship over in Halifax. But definitely still a good curler. I mean, having an opportunity for third in the world means that you are a fairly decent curler. So I'm sure Carter Rycroft is a solid choice. Definitely one of my favorites.
Have you had a chance to go over to Halifax to catch any of that action?
I did, yeah. I went over earlier this week, Tuesday night and all day Wednesday. Watched all the games at those times. And there was some really good action.
And what action did you get? We see a timeout right now.
Yes, Newfoundland calling a timeout. The coach actually stood up and signaled for that. So They're just not really pleased with the strategy at the moment, it looks like, and looking to just kind of settle the troops down, because at the moment it is a very good setup for PEI with those rocks frozen in and no double available.
All right, and with that timeout, we'll take a quick one here on Bell Line Community 1, and we will be back in the second. All right, we are back here on Bell Alliant Community 1 after a quick Newfoundland timeout. Brooks, what was the point of that timeout?
Well, Coach Scott Lambswood just looking to, it seems, settle the troops down. The call didn't seem to really fit with their strategy for the game, so what they're playing now seems to be just a hit, kind of juggled the angles up there. So they will remove the back yellow and roll over, stick around on the other wing. So that is a decent result. PEI still sitting shot rock, but having 2 red in the house instead of a 2-to-1 yellow to red ratio is definitely favorable for them.
Is that what Coach wanted on that shot?
Yeah, I'd say so. That's maybe a little less of a roll, but that's a good result.
Now up once again, Prince Edward Island with their stone. We see Noy trying to place this one perfectly. It looks like he's calling for it just inside the yellow.
Yeah, Dylan Vincent throwing here, and he's going for just a hit, maybe a tiny roll to the side on this red rock, and it looks good.
What a shot that time!
Nice shot. Does leave a bit of a double, but definitely a really nice result for PEI there.
So it definitely looks like McNeil Lambswood is going for that double. Does he have it?
Yeah, it needs to be thrown with a fair amount of weight, and it's with the distance for the second one to travel out. Like that's got to move, 7 or 8 feet. So not an easy shot. Has to be thrown fairly hard.
Newfoundland already with that 2-0 lead here after utilizing their hammer quite well in the first. Now Prince Edward Island with it. Both of these teams elected to come here. Newfoundland actually came second in their provincial championships.
They did, yeah. Their team has the opportunity to, or the winning team had the opportunity to go to the Optimist International tournament in Edmonton. So as we can see there, the distance that the rocket had traveled, just really not enough power on that one to get them both out, and that actually leaves PEI in a much better position. So,
and it separates their 2 stones.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty big miscue there for Newfoundland and Labrador. So yes, this team, the runner-up in their provincial, the winning team, Greg Blyde, with the remaining 3 players from the Andrew Taylor Canada Games team. They are representing PEI in Edmonton, Alberta, at the Optimist International Under-18. This team losing in an extra end in the Newfoundland provincial final to that team, and looking to represent their province here. Jumping out to an early lead, but PEI looking strong in this end here. Gets a little tick off the guard, so
fortunately for them, that ended up in a pretty good spot.
Roll into a decent spot, yeah, but they would have liked to get one in behind cover on that one. No complaints for that one, though.
Considering it did tick at the top, a pretty lucky bounce.
Yeah.
And now that redstone, will that cause any problems for either team going forward?
At the moment, it doesn't look that way. I mean, PEI is sitting 3 and being behind the tee line and only just in the 12-foot there. It's not looking like a dangerous rock at the moment, but if this is all cleared out, Newfoundland trying to play the double on this one, it could potentially come into play.
Here is Newfoundland Stone. This one coming in with a lot of power.
Craig Lang looking to get rid of some yellow here. That's a nice shot.
Does the trick exactly.
Yeah. Gets rid of, removes 2 from play and rolls in. Again, PEI still shot rock, but does change the tone of the rocks in the house there to
and it definitely
the
makes
majority
us
red.
think that there's a chance now Prince Edward Island, by the way this is looking, could go for a blank end here.
I wouldn't say that as of yet. I mean, still 3 rocks in play and a corner guard up, but depending what happens in the next few shots, that could be a possibility. I'd say a score of 1 or 2 would be reasonable here. So Jacob Wilkins playing the hit on this one. Gets a little roll inside. That's a pretty good shot.
And just like that, Prince Edward Island with a good look. And this double opportunity, is this
It's
possible?
not a great angle. It is possible, but it's hard to hold the shooter without. Pretty well impossible to hold the shooter. You'd have to hope for a jam on the yellow way over on the side there.
You'd really have to hit that one hard.
Yeah.
And of course, that would have to be a pretty sharp angle too.
Yeah, it is. So they'll just be looking to hit and flop under that red guard way up high there.
Here is 16-year-old Craig Lang. His dad got him involved with curling 4 years ago. The Stephenville product, with his shot right now crossing the hog line. There we see it going.
Looks
There's
pretty good
hit.
here. Gets a little roll under. That's a nice shot by Craig Lang.
That
Hard
was
to
the
remove.
realistic opportunity.
Yeah, that's a safe shot. Getting some fist pumps from his front end there. Well deserved. That's a very hard rock for them to remove. Because coming by that guard, unless you just shave by the guard, you're probably looking at a jam on the yellow on the side of the forefoot.
You're watching the 2015 Under-18 Atlantic Curling Championships here on Bell Alliant Community One, the leader in local sports webcasting and entertainment. We are live here from the Montague Curling Club on Championship Sunday, and of course Easter Sunday. A very big day.
It is.
Lots of Easter eggs. I still haven't seen the bunny hopping around here, but
no, I haven't. There's a lot of eggs hidden around here. One hidden in my headset when I picked it up, so.
I did notice that.
Yeah, I have to save that one for later on. Can't be snacking on the air.
We have 3 within about a foot of us, so
We do.
That's pretty dangerous for us. So if you hear a little munching, that's no doubt why. I'm holding out for the mini eggs, though.
I am. Yeah, I'll have some at home. Have to dive in later. So yes, happy Easter to all our viewers. Hope you're enjoying their Easter morning curling action.
And of course, for one of these teams, it's going to be a much better Easter morning.
It will, yeah. They'll be playing for a bronze medal, which is definitely to be on the podium at this event is a big accomplishment. Definitely feels good going home with something around your neck.
Who does the pressure go on at this point, Brooks? The team who traveled 15 hours to be here, or the team who, in a way, is the host because they represent their province here?
Yeah, you can look at it a few ways. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on every team here, but the Newfoundland boys definitely looking to take advantage of their long travel here. So.
All right, and we'll have another timeout called by Newfoundland right now.
So they've used up both their timeouts here in the first 2 ends. So bit of a gamble there.
All right, and we'll take a quick break here on Bell Line Community One. We'll be right back here in the second. We're back here in the second after a pretty interesting timeout call here.
Yeah, the Newfoundland team have used both their timeouts here early on in the game. They seem to just be wanting to discuss strategy, which can definitely be a risk later on because having used both of those, if they get into a tough scenario later on in the game, they won't have the opportunity to get their coach out on the ice and discuss their options. Also, if they end up running low on time, which they have done a few games, there's no fail-safe to just take a second and take a deep breath there. So this one really...
you wouldn't have made that call?
I don't think so. I mean, it's a questionable call, especially with the shot being that open. Like it's not the most crowded of houses, so there's really only a few options to look at.
And very interestingly, we just saw McNeil.
Yeah, McNeil Lamswood
completely off,
flying by there. Seemed to just get out wide of the broom, and it with that amount of weight, it just would not come back to the shot rock.
Another very interesting call. So they may have just called a timeout for that shot that wasn't even close.
Yeah, big miss there, especially after taking such a long, hard look at it.
So now maybe a chance for Prince Edward Island to capitalize, especially when they know their team has both timeouts remaining in this game and their opponent with no time.
They have a little advantage there, just to keep in the back of their minds. So Leslie Noy looking to split the rings here, draw over to the side of the 8-foot and lie to. Looks a little hot out of his hand.
And we do see a bit of a curl with this stone right now. No sweeping yet from his Prince Edward Island teammates.
This one needing to sit for sure. So that one will slip out the back.
It might hang around a little bit there.
It does, but sitting fourth shot at the moment, so not really helping them out. Leaving Newfoundland and Labrador the same shot here.
So once again, Brooks, we're seeing this ice become an issue here for some of these players. That's the second shot in a row where we've seen a shot overthrown.
Yeah, definitely not what Leslie Noy would have wanted on that one. Slipping heavy. A little bit light would be a tolerance there. But again, you really want to make a shot like that to sit to and with the hammer really put some pressure on the other team.
Noy curls out of the Alberton Curling Club. Have you ever had a chance to
I have,
look there?
Yeah, not in a while, but I've played a couple provincials up there, and it's a decent club. Can be fairly chilly, but most ice surfaces are, and this one really needing to slide over as well. And that's also going to just fly right by the side.
Another back-to-back miss now for Newfoundland and McNeil Lamswood. What is going on right now?
I don't know. I just think not a great throw on that one. So hard to say. It could just be a really, really straight spot down there, but I'd have to say that it was just a bit of an overthrow again. So ice seems to be very, very slick.
So now here is the final shot in the second. Prince Edward Island is down by 2. They have the hammer, and they'll probably look to score right here.
Yeah, they're just drawing in for their second point here to tie things up. So if this is made, we'll just be playing what they call a 6-end game. So it's almost as if it's starting over, 0-0, when the team's all tied. So that will make the strategy a bit interesting, keeping things close.
And does that term hold true when it's a 10-end game in the first two?
It does, yeah. You just change it to an 8-end game. Yeah. So this one looking pretty good. Needs full 8-foot. Yeah, looks like a good shot there from Leslie Noy. Good comeback after sliding heavy on his first one. So yeah, he definitely has his draw weight down now. Coming to the back 4-foot for his second point, and we're all tied up here.
We'll be right back on Bell Line Community 1. Back here at the start of the third from the Montague Curling Club for the Under-18 Atlantic title. That game will be at 1 o'clock in Brooks. So what do we have on our sheet?
On our sheet right now, it's all tied up after 2 ends between Newfoundland and Prince Edward Island. So it's the all-island game here. Definitely a lot closer than the game next door between the women's teams representing the same provinces, where PEI leads 6-1 after 2 ends. Other scores: New Brunswick up 2-0 on Nova Scotia in men's action, and New Brunswick up 2-0 as well on Nova Scotia in women's action. As Matthew English throws his first lead stone here.
And of course, we will have to keep an eye on that women's New Brunswick-Nova Scotia game, because that's what we will have here for our championships.
Yes, looking like a pretty good game so far. Quite a few rocks in play. Definitely going to be an entertaining one later today.
This stone curls a bit as it approaches the house. Is that where they wanted it to end up?
Yeah, they were just looking for a corner guard there, so pretty decent spot.
Now up is Alex Glant, the 15-year-old. Got hurt playing basketball 3 years ago, so he's pretty new to the sport, and that's how he got involved with curling. It was just 3 years ago. He wanted to join, and this is his first year with the team. This is one of the newer curlers that we have in this entire building right now.
Yeah, definitely, and he seems to be a quick learner and definitely fits in well with this team. They've had obviously winning the Under-18 provincials with a new team member is pretty impressive for them.
He attends Three Oaks Senior High in my hometown of Summerside, and grade 10 student there. He also golfs at the Summerside Golf Club, and his favorite food, just in case you were wondering, scalloped potatoes.
Interesting. Not a common answer. We've had a lot of different answers as far as the favorite food section goes.
It's always my favorite question to ask. It really adds nothing at all to this broadcast except a little bit of humor and joy.
Yeah, I'm sure all our viewers are quite interested in the favorite foods of our athletes.
Well, now Mom knows what to make when they get back tonight.
Exactly. So Mrs. Gallant, you better pay attention to that one.
Here's English up for Newfoundland. Just because we are on the topic, Matthew's favorite food, can you take a guess? It's a pasta. I'm going to cover up the answer.
I'm going to say spaghetti. Safe answer.
Okay, that's good guess, but it's actually lasagna.
Lasagna, okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
So there we go. There's 2 food comments within 30 seconds, so that is definitely a record here from Montague.
That is. We're speeding up with the food comments.
I should have just got them all off the bat, just so the parents back home could get cooking right
Rapid
away.
Fire.
Although I don't think these Newfoundland boys will be home for dinner in time tonight.
I don't think so. They'll be home after dark for sure.
Here is Vincent now up for Prince Edward Island. This game knotted up at 2 in the third. Vincent plays second for this team. He's a grade 11 student at West Isle. He wanted to give a shout out to his grandfather John, who is tuning in to this one.
So Dylan Vincent making a few good shots early in this game, looking to wrap one in there. Sweepers get really going to get this by the guard. They get it by the top, but it will just slide in towards that red, bumping them up. So they do remain yellow shot rock, it looks like, but only sitting first and third shot out of the 4 in the house.
So now Carter taking a look at his options. This Newfoundland team, very disciplined. All of these curlers have basically given up other sports and activities to focus primarily on curling during the curling season.
They have, yeah. It's a pretty common characteristic when you listen to the athletes here. There's not a lot of multi-sport athletes, and those who are purely summer sports. So they really devote a lot of their time, especially in the winter, to improving their curling abilities.
And of course, there's a good motive for that. Some of the best curlers in the world are very well compensated for the work they do.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, a lot of activity in the house. The Yellowstone perfectly placed just north of the button right now. And we see just over a tad bit inside the 4-foot is a red stone belonging to Newfoundland. So now we're seeing Prince Edward Island burn through a little bit of their time right now.
They are, yeah. Both teams at around 21 minutes. So a bit of a slow start to this game. Not too bad, but they'll want to keep an eye on that. So Dylan Vincent looking to pick a hit on this red rock at the side of the 4-foot. And that's made, so PEI now sitting 3. That one's slightly in the open, so Newfoundland Labrador with a bit of an out there, looking to play the hit and roll underneath.
Now Carter's up once again. This could be the first game where we actually see the thinking time become a bit of an issue.
It looks that way. If the strategy keeps up the way it is, just kind of a fair amount of time being put into every decision, there may end up being a bit of a time issue later on.
Here's a very, very powerful shot by
Sweep
Carter.
by the front end there.
This one comes inside, just misses one yellow, hits the other, right into the button.
Over the top. So still decent. Prince Edward Island sitting 1, but Newfoundland second, and a difficult rock to get out there.
Brooks, an interesting thing about this tournament, each team, guys and girls, are very equal in talent and ability here. We see the Nova Scotia teams, probably the favorites, New Brunswick in second. Then the Prince Edward Island teams always seem to be pretty equal to each other. The host teams have played well, so the Newfoundland teams both have struggled.
Yeah. In general, it's not a ton of difference here. You get a few games that are quite lopsided, and that can just be a combination of nerves and inexperience, and also playing on ice surface this good. It's hard to adapt for a lot of the athletes.
We see a bit of a lopsided game on ice 3 between Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland. 6-2 now for the Island girls.
So guard thrown there by Jacob Wilkins, ends up in a very good spot. So blocking off a couple key shots that the Newfoundlanders could have played.
What do we see in store for Newfoundland right now? A lot of traffic up in front.
Yeah, they'll be looking to, I'd say, clear something up up top there. Playing a hit on the redstone just in the top 12 there. Craig Lang.
We are live here
Early
in the
sweep
third.
there. And really pounding this one as it comes in. Looking to play the run back.
This will make contact with one
Just
stone.
missing the back one. Sweepers could not quite hold that one. Very good effort.
That's a tough shot to complete.
That is, to come really close like that is tough, though. Craig Lang definitely would like to have that one back. Just maybe an inch from making that one perfectly.
Now a Wilkins back with it. Of course, the hammer right now belonging to Newfoundland.
Yes, Wilkins looking to, I think, sink one around there. So that will be on the top yellow guard, bumping it straight back. But it does roll to a spot that will cover that same shot that Lang just threw, so makes that one quite a bit tougher. McNeil Lambswood now looking at the peel opportunities to clear up the front of the area in front of the house.
And Craig Land wants to give a shout out to Kyle Barron and his parents who are watching back home in Stephenville tonight. Or I guess I should say this morning.
Yes.
It's definitely early in the morning. There's a half-hour time difference, but they are ahead, I believe, so they're around 10:15 right now, local time, as his shot very heavy, lots of sweeping on it. It's going right for that top Yellowstone, hits it.
So yes, wishing a happy Easter to the folks up in Stephenville there. I spent Easter 2013 in Stephenville, Newfoundland, so definitely a great community for some Easter festivities.
And Stephenville must be a pretty small community.
It's a fairly small town, yeah. It's roughly the same size as Montague. Big curling community. So, hello to Kyle Barron and the Lang parents.
And you know Kyle Barron yourself.
I do. I've played against him at Nationals, and I encountered him at the Atlantics in Stephenville, so in his hometown.
They all mention Kyle Barron, so definitely a legend.
Local legend, for sure.
Now here is Noy up for Prince Edward Island. He wanted to give a shout out to Sharon and Mike who are watching. And this here, his first throw in the third. This game tied up at 2 apiece.
So Noy still looking to just plug up the front there. Newfoundland with hammer, but PEI set up very well for a steal here.
Brooks, a lot of activity here inside of the house and just outside of it, as opposed to other games we've called this weekend.
Yeah, it's fairly clustered. So both teams definitely don't mind throwing up guards and protecting what they have set up in the house. In this case, PEI playing that. McNeil Lambswood now trying to play the same shot that Craig Lang just missed early on. So that's the short angle run back on their red rock just outside the 12-foot.
Here is McNeil Lambswood now. This is his first throw in the third. Thinking time now for Newfoundland, ticking below 1850. We're still in the third, and already more than a third of the time has burned through.
Sweeper staying close to this one. Will need to curl up a little. Just catches his own on the way by, so doesn't quite curl up enough to get to the yellow on the button there, but does open things up. Unfortunately, he does get rid of his chance for a short run back with that from that same spot.
Now the Islanders back up with it once again. This has been a really slow third.
It has, yeah. Team's taking a lot of consideration into this one. After a bit of a quick switch up on the scoreboard there with Newfoundland jumping out to a lead and PEI coming right back and tying it up, they're looking to keep things under control, both teams. So Newfoundland not wanting to give up a steal and go down, and PEI definitely looking to try to make that happen.
You're watching the 2015 Under-18 Atlantic Curling Championships here from the Montague Curling Rink here. It's a cold day out there, Brooks, for Easter Sunday, but finally we see some sunshine.
Yeah, a bit of sun, but nice crisp morning.
Very crisp. It was so nice here yesterday. A little rain that came over probably melted a few of those 500 centimeters.
Yeah, it might have done a bit of damage, but still some mountains out there.
Oh, there's some nasty, nasty mountains out there. You could probably, at some points, measure 15, 20-foot snowbanks in this area.
There's still quite a few roads that are pretty well impassable. So this one looking to get off. That just gets by.
And that's a bit of a tough look because they lose one of their own the process.
Yeah. Let Newfoundland off the hook on that one. Didn't quite curl up enough and ticked away their own on the button. So leaves Newfoundland actually a shot for 3 if they can get by here.
Prince Edward Island has to be sturdy at this point because they would basically give up, once again, more points in another end. We haven't seen a blank end yet, and of course they would get the hammer back if they were to lose a few points, but right now Newfoundland here with their last shot have once again a pretty good look to go for 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, not an easy shot. It'll have to come fairly close to that guard, and even rolling out to get 2 would be fine for them, but it has to be made for sure.
But they are.
And they're definitely not going to touch that one. Right now, that's way out there.
And that one slides out.
It will clip the yellow, roll out, but score of 2 for PEI. For Newfoundland.
So after 3 here from Montague, the score 4-2 in favor of the men in red. We'll be right back here to start the 4th. We are back at the start of the 4th. A big break by Newfoundland as they jump up by 2. They give up the hammer, but right now they are in the driver's seat. What does Prince Edward Island have to do before we take our 5-minute break here?
PEI's probably going to look at tying it up once again. They'd be fine with getting 2 here. They don't want to be forced to 1. But the way the game has been played, it's not likely to see a single point scored by a force unless it's a really good one. So blank is really not looking like the option here, with already a guard thrown up and Alex Gallant looking to draw one in behind.
And Brooks, just a quick shout out to our camera crew working so hard out there on the ice to make this game available for the folks back home. And
they are, yeah, out there in the cold, putting a lot of time and energy in.
And day 3 here of the tournament, they're even more prepared. We see gloves now on these cameramen.
Yeah, it's they seem to know what's up out there. I mean, it's fairly frosty.
You really don't need to know too much. You go out there for about 5 minutes and you're wanting a pair of gloves.
You can already feel it.
Yeah. And of course we get cozy seats, front row in the warmth.
Right up in the skybox here. Few players out there have stripped the jackets off and are going bare arms, so kudos to them. Really
surprising in the game we called yesterday between, I guess it was the host for Prince Edward Island, and who else did we have? So many, they're blending now.
The PEI host in Nova Scotia.
Yes, Nova Scotia. We saw about half the players strip off and just go with the sleeves.
Yeah, it must have just heated up for a few minutes out there, and people really felt the need to, show off the guns, I guess.
What's the ideal temperature of a curling rink?
That's hard to say. I don't know the exact temperature, but it's you want something that's comfortably cold. I mean, if you can wear a t-shirt and not be cold at all, then I'd say it's too warm. You should have just a bit of chill in the air, because you do want to have that atmosphere of being out there on an ice surface. It keeps you alert.
It definitely would. Now we see 2 Yellowstones in the house for Prince Edward Island. Newfoundland with 2 guards about 10 feet away from the house right now, and they're hugged on the center line. Will we see Newfoundland now try to get inside?
Yeah, they'll be. They're looking at their options, so we'll see what Ryan McNeil Lambswood decides to play here. Again, not having a timeout, so he doesn't have the option to stop and discuss things at length. But Craig Lang coming down here to take a look at things.
Quite the discussion taking place, and of course the thinking time just ticking down.
It is, yeah, really getting down there. They'll be well below 15 minutes, I'd say, by the end of this 4th end. So seeping below half, and already with 2 timeouts used. So.
And the scary part, Brooks, the thinking time is normally used in the 6th, 7th, and 8th, not in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Yeah, it tends to be a later game process where you'd want to take those extra minutes and really examine your shots. They definitely won't have that luxury.
Have you ever seen a team actually run out of thinking time?
It's I haven't seen it personally, but it has happened, and it's not something that you'd want to be a part of, especially at an event like this.
Yes. Of course, the consequences are.
Yeah, it is a forfeiture of the game, so the team definitely doesn't want to lose in that fashion, especially if you were to have a close game that was called because of that. That can be a pretty heartbreaking way to lose.
And you say forfeiture, but that really just means they cannot throw any more stones.
No, it's that's in general the rule, but I overheard the rules of this tournament saying that if a team was to run out of time, they would forfeit immediately.
Really?
Yeah.
So even tougher rules in this tournament. So they really want to keep these games under 2 hours.
They do. Yeah, it's a tight schedule, and you have to respect the time limits that are put in place. So teams really looking to obey, not really obey, but to keep an eye on that.
You know what? We've actually seen most teams utilize this and not go below 8-9 minutes here.
Yeah,
I really think there's plenty.
There's some very efficient teams, not necessarily being fast, but just being efficient in how you decide your shots, and because it's not the time that it takes to throw the shot, it's all the time between shots. So it's what you do after the other team's rock comes to rest, and then the time from then until the delivery of your stone crosses the tee line.
So like right now we see Newfoundland setting something up. McNeil Lambswood trying to organize this shot. This has been about a 20-second delay now. Going on 30, just over 15 minutes left here in thinking time.
And still on the seconds rocks here for Newfoundland, so that could definitely become an issue.
Even though Prince Edward Island has used a considerable amount.
They have. They'd be below the average. They'll be close to 15 minutes at the break, probably a little over. But again, you'd rather be on the excess side going into the break, to have in the later stages of the game, to have some extra time on the go.
Now Prince Edward Island back up. They don't have a stone inside, or they have 2 stones inside of the house. They
looking to
have 3
wrap
guards.
a third one in. Yeah, there's all Newfoundland is up in front of the house, and not really many angles to help them out up there with the guards.
I was just about to compliment how efficiently these players are updating the hammer position, and they've taken this end off.
Yeah,
of course, the hammer does belong to Prince Edward Island here.
It does, and they're definitely looking to be in the power position in this one. They have the foot on the pedal, and they are in the driver's seat.
And we haven't seen a major mistake from them here in the 4th end, and that has been crucial.
And another good shot there from Dylan Vincent, who's been having a steady game for sure.
So now McNeil Lambswood setting up again. The thinking time once again running out. Just over 15 to go. And he is looking at a few options. What do you think will be the call here?
He looks to be playing a hit on the top yellow that was just thrown, but really not many angles to support the Newfoundlanders here. They'll want to clear something out. And that's sweepers called right off on this one.
This one very powerful. It is curling.
It will need to keep up that path.
And that is a tough throw for Newfoundland, and that once again hurts them.
That's a pretty large miss. That's not something they'd want to. Leslie Noy calling a timeout here. Just wanting to take a look at his options. Not a bad time to call a timeout either. A little close to the 4th end break, but there's a few options for him here. Putting a 4th one in is definitely appealing for anyone watching the game, but it could end up costing them for being a little greedy like that.
All right, we will take a quick timeout here on Bell Alliant Community 1. Back here in the fourth after a Prince Edward Island timeout. What did they call that timeout for?
They wanted to talk with their coach, I think, because they are playing this draw, and it looks to be really good weight there, coming down at the top of the button. Yeah, that's a good call there. I can see why they wanted to check with the coach on that one. Leslie Noy just wanting to make sure that was a decent idea, and it definitely paid off with the execution from Jacob Wilkins.
And we see a full family growing inside the house right now, and no company. All of those redstones outside, looking in.
Yes, Newfoundland in some big trouble. Looking to clear some yellow out of there. There's a lot of mustard and not much ketchup in the house there.
I've never heard that one.
That's a rare saying, but it does apply pretty well.
And the relish is always left out of this.
There's never any relish. This one really getting close to the guard. Oh my.
This could be the end that changes the entire game.
Yeah. That's a really close miss, but a bad one.
And you can just see the frustration right now on McNeil Lambswood's face.
Yeah.
He is doing everything he can right now to try to organize this game, but right now it's just falling apart. And here's where you'd love a timeout.
Yeah, exactly. Even just to take a second and gather his thoughts. Craig Lang definitely disappointed with that miss there.
Here comes this Prince Edward Island stone. They, once again, have full control here in the fourth. Where do they want this one to be?
They're just looking to, I think, put a tight guard up, because really the only path that Newfoundland has right now is down that lane right there that was just covered. And another nice shot by Jacob Wilkins, who seems to really have his weight in his back pocket. He putting one just top 4 foot, and a nice guard on command there.
The scary situation right now for Newfoundland, they've made multiple mistakes. Prince Edward Island has not. Prince Edward Island has the hammer. Newfoundland does not.
Yeah, to have the hammer and be sitting 4 after your thirds rocks with 4 guards up front, you definitely would take that any day of the week. Probably twice on Championship Sunday.
Probably the best scenario we've seen for any team here in the tournament.
Yeah, it's really a great setup and a well orchestrated end by Leslie Noy. Great strategy here.
And
that timeout really paying off.
Absolutely. And you can see all smiles on the face of Prince Edward Island. They're really happy with the way this looks right now. Yeah. Of course they are down, but that's probably going to change.
It looks like it. I can't see Newfoundland really doing anything to stem the flow here.
Do they have any way to get inside of this house right now and really make a mess?
I don't see it. I mean, even especially the way they're playing this run back with the yellow rock back into the house.
This one really
also needing
hard.
to curl. So that will clear a few guards up, but still, I don't see a path in anywhere to a decent scoring area.
And of course, another yellow guard will go right back up.
Yeah, that's what they're discussing. There's really coming in can you don't want to play around with the way things are set up. It's a great angle in there. I can't see Newfoundland getting rid of any more than 2 yellow rocks, and even doing that, they'd struggle to hold the shooter.
And of course, a scary amount of thinking time remaining right now for Newfoundland.
Really dripping away. Like they're going to be around 13 minutes with 4 ends to play.
And that's dangerous.
That is. They'll be probably rushing through, and again, when that happens, and they already seem to be showing a few signs of just maybe some nerves, but just not quite performing. So they'll want to. Those are the times when you're playing it that way, you're going to want to, take an extra second and make sure you're really focused on throwing a good shot.
And just in comparison here, we see other games in the 6th end right now. We are still in the 4th.
Yeah, there's a lot of delays in this game. Not delays, just
there's a lot of thought process.
Exactly.
plenty of that.
Yeah.
It's been about a full minute now since we've seen a shot. Prince Edward Island just about ready to go. This is the kind of game, Brooks, where you really appreciate having a color person with you. Because if I was right here by myself, it would be a long 2 hours for me.
Yeah, it's
a lot of dead play action.
It's a good game to be commentating for. There's a lot of interesting strategy being put into place. Definitely seeing PEI at the advantage with the way the game's being called. They seem to be quite all right with playing this, lighter weight game. Right now, just looking to put one top 12 foot or a tight guard and block off the path. But in doing so, they will count 5 if this slips in, which it looks like it will.
Heavy sweeping as it crosses the hog line. Lots of power on it still. Like you said, probably will touch the blue.
Looking to get it there. It will just fall short, but still a good spot for them. As Newfoundland examines this, they really need a great shot here. I can't see them playing a hit unless it's on their red over on the side there.
And this could be the end that makes or break this entire tournament for either team.
Yeah. If this rock isn't made well, then Newfoundland, or PEI, will have a shot for 5 if this isn't made very well. So they're looking to actually just freeze into the one sort of on the 4 foot on the left-hand side there, and in doing so, PEI will still count 2, but definitely wanting to cut down on the damage.
Now, in the 12-minute mark of thinking time, I'm getting nervous just watching this right now.
Yeah, it's not a comfortable situation for them. And I'm going to say that they will probably regret at least one of those timeouts.
Most likely the first.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, probably both were scenarios that I would have liked to see the players play through.
They both could have been probably powered through. So some heavy sweeping here by the Newfoundland front end.
And they do get around the guard.
They'll get around the guard, but they'll tick off and roll it way out into the open.
And once again, they just put Prince Edward Island closer to the button.
That's way out to the back 12. PEI still sitting 4, so this will be a draw for 5 in the 4th end.
And what a turn of events here.
Yeah.
Newfoundland was up 4-2, as they are right now, over Prince Edward Island, heading into this 4th, and now heading into the 5th. It could be a much different story.
Yeah, if this is made, it'll go from 4-2 to 7-4. So that's one of the larger jumps we would have seen this weekend. And to be quite frank, I don't see an accidental quadruple by Noy to give Newfoundland the point. So I'd say he has at least a few points locked up here.
So here is the shot from Leslie Noy. 17-year-old, has been curling for 6 years. Got involved through his grandparents and his father, who curled and got him into the sport. His stone comes inside right now, just about to cross the hog line. Heavy sweeping, looks good.
Vincent and Gallant just guiding this one in. And there you have it. The hands go up, and PEI counts 5, so huge jump ahead on the scoreboard there.
And after 4, heading into the break, it is a Prince Edward Island lead right now. They are up 7-4. We'll be back here in the 5th. Back here at the start of the fifth, here in Montague for the 2015 Under-18 Atlantic Curling Championships. Brett Poirier alongside Brooks Roach on the call. This game, Brooks, has been running its toll for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of points being scored and a lot of time being put into each point. PEI now leading 7-4 after 4 ends, which is a huge score to get 11 points in that period of time. So they're both going to want to probably speed things up. I'd say Newfoundland for sure. They're now at 12.5 minutes, just at the start of the fifth end here.
And now we're going to give time updates as well as score updates, because that is something that doesn't normally apply to curling, but no, I think at this point it has to.
It will. Us, along with the Newfoundland boys out on the ice, we'll have to keep an eye on that, because it's just a bit of an added stress factor to the game. A few other updates from around the Montague Curling Club this morning on Easter Sunday. New Brunswick boys leading Nova Scotia boys 4-1 after 4 ends. Our game, of course, 7-4 in favor of PEI. Next door, the other PEI Newfoundland matchup, where the PEI girls have jumped to a 9-2 lead after 5 ends, and New Brunswick girls leading the Nova Scotian girls 3-1 after 3 ends, with no scores posted after that.
There's Gallant's shot. This one goes inside, hits his own yellow stone. That's not the ideal look for Prince Edward Island.
Yeah, that's actually a bit of a different strategy call. I think that was the intended call.
Okay, and why was that?
That was just they weren't pleased with the way things were set up, so they're looking to keep things clean.
Now, of course, the hammer belonging to Newfoundland, but they are down 7-4 right now here in the fifth. This is English's shot. The 17-year-old wants to give a shout-out to his girlfriend, Olivia, who woke up at 7 a.m. to watch this game. That's dedication. Not too many girlfriends would do that.
No, that's a keeper.
Absolutely is. And he either wants to give a shout-out. We'll repeat this one more time. A shout-out to either a Russ Carter or a friend Russ Carter who's a curler back home, or most likely a Russ Howard who is his favorite curler.
It could be any of those options, possibly more than one. So,
like we discussed earlier in the game, I think it's safest to go with Russ Howard, because there's a Jordan Carter on this team who plays second, and the names could have just got mixed up somewhere.
Yeah, it's possible, but I think that will remain a mystery. Just one of the mysteries of this Atlantic Under-18 Championships. There is a few, and
we'll never find that one out, probably. Interestingly, I asked all of the Newfoundland players their favorite curler, and none of them said Brad Gushu or anyone on that rink.
Very interesting. Wow.
You'd think that would be an automatic.
Yeah, they're certainly apt to mention him when when anyone mentions the World Curling Tour or the Briar. They definitely like to pump up Gushu's abilities. So
I think the boys here on this Newfoundland team are a little turned off by his bronze medal performance.
Yeah, that may be a problem, but I mean, he also does have a bit of an Olympic gold in there somewhere, so I'm sure that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Still
a pretty good role model, all in all, if you're a curler, especially from St. John's.
Yeah, it may just be that these boys are from the west coast of Newfoundland, and
that's always the rivalry, no doubt.
There's a bit of beef between the city boys and the Corner Brook and Stephenville folk, from what I've gathered.
So this shot Dylan is Benson a rocket.
Will clip the red on the way by. So close shot there, but made, and they'll be pleased with that one.
Now we see the house completely empty. Carter getting set here for Newfoundland. He's a skier. He's been curling now for 4 years. Also one of those Corner Brook boys, along with English. What is the history of these rocks, and how do we get them here? I know I discussed this when I was here a few months ago for the university championships, but I find it's a very interesting story.
Yeah, they're all, every curling rock that you'll see is basically mined in Scotland. They have a special granite area where they extract it from, and they're all fashioned, and every rock weighs the same amount. So basically, they'll they're all shipped here, which, as you can imagine, it wouldn't be a light load bringing that amount of granite over to Canada, as we have the most curling rocks in the world. But they're mined in Scotland and fabricated and made very carefully. And our rocks are some of the better ones you'd find on PEI. They have some pretty lively striking bands. You'll see this one spring right across the house.
Yeah, those shipping fees must be pretty expensive.
You'd have to have a pretty high tech boat, or I can't imagine you putting all that on a plane. So
they weigh about 45 pounds apiece.
They're 42 pounds each. So if you want to pick one up, you need to spend a bit of time in the gym. Some people back swinging and whatnot.
And something about these curling rocks, they very rarely leave the ice surface.
We haven't seen that at this term. There's no backswingers here. There was last year on the Newfoundland team. Of course, Greg Smith of Newfoundland, who's made a bit of a name for himself with his legendary backswing that he learned himself 4 years ago. So, bit of a shocking delivery in today's game, especially for a young player.
And finally, talking about the game of curling, tell me about the ice, because it's not your traditional ice surface.
It isn't. This one here, it's pebbled very carefully. So we have a great ice crew. So that's Bruce Rourke and Larry Richards, and they've been maintaining it. So they go out and pebble and scrape the ice, and it's very carefully made to have the right speed, and also to not break down, because you don't want the speed of the ice to change over the course of the game. Because, of course, it is all about muscle memory. So, as we see Jacob Wilkins just nosing the peel there. So that's leaves an opportunity for the Newfoundland boys.
Definitely an interesting strategy. We're seeing a clean end for the first time here. Definitely a bit of a quicker end. Still, the thinking time, though, for both teams, pretty dangerous right now.
It is, yeah. They will enjoy an end like this, where it's a lot of hits that are just, put the broom down and throw it like that. But yeah, they will want to. I don't know if they can afford to keep playing ends like this for the rest of the game, because somebody, obviously Newfoundland, will have to catch up those 3 points if they hope to win. So you won't do that by playing like this.
And that's where it really becomes interesting, because to have an end where there are a lot of stones in play usually takes more time to calculate.
It does, yeah. As we see there, Newfoundland trying to wrap a red rock around that yellow guard, but not quite getting it buried around. So a little bit light on that one. And Leslie Noy with the playing the hit on this one.
And now here comes Noy. The clock is ticking. Just about a minute in between the difference from Prince Edward Island to Newfoundland. Over 12 minutes left for Prince Edward Island in thinking time. Just over 11 for Newfoundland. And looking across some other scoreboards, we see one game right now in a bit of a break with a timeout. But what else is going on, Brooks?
Well, we have New Brunswick just called their timeout. They have a bit of an interesting setup in their game against Nova Scotia. They're leading 4-1, but Nova Scotia has a very well-placed rock in there, and they're just looking on how to play along with that, hoping to keep their lead alive. Over on the PEI Newfoundland girls game, we have PEI in a good position as well. So they lead 9-2 after 5 ends and set up very, very well this end as well. Then finally on Ice 4, we have Nova Scotia, New Brunswick girls in a final preview, and New Brunswick currently leads 3-1. A lot of rocks in play over there as well.
So here is McNeil Lambswood. The clock now at 10:28. It is stopped. A wide open path to the center of the house. This one traveling along the center line. Heavy sweeping right now. It's starting to curl away just a tad bit.
Yeah, that seems to be quite light. So they will be light, and they'll be on the guard anyway. So not a good shot there for Ryan McNeil Lambswood.
Where was he trying to get?
He was trying to get that one in the house, as buried as possible behind that yellow guard, but just simply not enough weight on that one.
Yeah, he really came up short in that case. So maybe trying to compensate for this lick ice.
Yeah, just
undercompensated.
Yeah.
And now Noy is up here for Prince Edward Island. His last stone here. Of course, the hammer does belong to Newfoundland, but they are down by 3, and it doesn't look like they will get a point in this one at all.
No, it's seeing what PEI does here. We may see a draw for 1 or a blank from Newfoundland.
And you know the day is starting to heat up whenever they're calling for last calls of the 50-50.
Yes, the people are starting to wake up when that happens.
Always excites the crowd. It really got loud here, especially Friday night, Brooks. This place was bumping.
Yes, it was hard to hear people, hard to hear yourself think, actually, commentating. Looking over at Ice 4, we just saw a big score by the New Brunswick girls. A lot of red rocks in play there, so we'll see when the score goes up what that actually was.
Here is McNeil Lambswood right now. His last shot. This is probably going to go right through.
Yeah, he's looking to keep the hammer here, set up better next end. So just not pleased with the way that was set up and not wanting to take his 1 at the moment. So score remains 7-4 after 5 ends.
We'll be right back here on Bella Line Community 1. We're back here for the 2015 Under-18 Atlantic Curling Championships. Teams in play right now, Prince Edward Island versus Newfoundland. And the Islanders, without the hammer, are up by 3 here, Brooks.
They are, yeah. That rock slipping through by Alex Gallant. They were just looking to put 1 in there. So that leaves an open house, and Newfoundland's going to be playing the corner guard here, looking to get a couple points here.
And we were just discussing an early exit possibility. It seems unlikely, but then again, Prince Edward Island up. If they're able to steal, you think it's possible?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I think this end will be fairly a simple strategy. So I don't think a big steal, maybe a 1-point steal, is on the table. But Newfoundland definitely looking at a single or multiple point score for sure.
So Noy setting 1 up, looking to go on the center line. Is he looking for a guard or going right in the house?
He's just drawing 1 in there. That guard slipping a little wide, so difficult to use for Newfoundland. It's only covering a small piece of the edge of the 12-foot, so has to be a very precise shot to come in behind that one.
We see handshakes over on sheet 3 between the Prince Edward Island girls and
PEI winning that one 11-2 after 6 ends.
So the Newfoundland girls really struggled in this tournament.
They did, yeah. They will not play for a medal, so they'll finish 5th out of 5 teams without picking up a win. But I'm sure picking up some great experience along the way.
Now the Newfoundland boys coming back down. Just a reminder, you can follow us on Twitter at Brett Poe or at Brett NBA for myself or at Brooks Roach. Still waiting to get a tweet about this tournament. People are just not on social media.
People are a little shy here on Easter Sunday, but feel free to shout us out. We're here. We have our phones set on vibrate, but definitely going to be checking them at any timeouts and whatnot. Not that there is many timeout opportunities left here.
A potential one for
only
Prince
one
Edward Island.
for Prince Edward Island if they want to check that.
Prince Edward Island back up. Noy looking to remove that redstone placed by Newfoundland. Starting to get a little loud in here.
It is, yeah. People seem to be showing up for the end of these games. This one may be an interesting finish here. So looking over at sheet 4, New Brunswick picked up 6 in the 5th end, so they lead 9-3. So that's a huge jump, going from 3-3 to 9-3.
Now McNeil Lambswood looking at a few options. Looks like a double.
Yeah, it seems that he'll be playing that. And we see right now the 50-50, or we hear right now 50-50 being called. So that's the reason for any commotion you're picking up on the other end of the line here.
And Newfoundland didn't lose everything here today. They just won the 50-50.
They got the 50-50.
And that might be the best prize of all.
Yes.
That's your bridge money out of here.
Don't think anybody would complain about getting the 50-50 anywhere, especially the Montague Curling Club. Fine establishment.
Brooks, we're really seeing Newfoundland pick up the pace here. Only 8:34 left on their thinking time, but they haven't used much here in the last 6-7 throws.
They've been a bit more conservative with their use of the time. So a little bit far of a roll on that one for Jordan Carter, but still a decent shot. Just overcurled an inch or so.
Now, they didn't go for the double opportunity. Was that expected?
That was. I like the call. If it was made, it would be a really, really well-placed rock. They were going for just the roll underneath the yellow rock at the top of the 12, but by rolling outside, it's not terrible. They are still shot rock, leaving Dylan Vincent here a hit on that rock that was just thrown.
Now here's Prince Edward Island Stone once again. They don't have the hammer here, looking for a steal in the 6th.
So that will roll out. Yeah.
So they rolled the wrong way that time. In a perfect world, you love to roll behind your guard already set up.
Yeah. But Newfoundland and Labrador placing another guard up here, which is an interesting call. They're really looking to get some points here by ignoring that yellow rock, because if they hit that now, it's probably going to set up for a blank end, and they'd rather pick up a few points here in the 6th.
And folks, make sure you are with us here on Bell Alliant Community 1 for the gold medal game in the world. In the girls division. We will have New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. That will surely be an intense matchup.
Yeah, that will be a good game, definitely. Both teams right now, New Brunswick with a heavy advantage after what seemed to be a rough end for Nova Scotia. The New Brunswick girls picked up 6, so huge score over there. Just some solid offense, or possibly some poor defense, maybe a bit of both there.
So this thinking time now spread out a little bit. So we were saying a few moments ago, Brooks, that it was about 1 minute in the difference. Now there's about 2 minutes in the difference here. So Prince Edward Island with 10 minutes left, Newfoundland with less than 8. So they are still a little bit behind the 8 ball in terms of playing this game quicker.
Yeah, PEI definitely, with the hit game they've been playing, they're taking up less time. Just, again, deciding the ice for a hit and discussing the strategy is quite a bit simpler than the draws and tap shots that we're seeing Newfoundland and Labrador looking at. So PEI draws in there, and Newfoundland and Labrador now looking to hit this, so they'll probably be playing for a blank end. It looks that way.
And Newfoundland doesn't want to keep playing this style of curling
No,
forever.
they're going to want to pick up the pace and get some points on the board.
And Brooks, here's a question that I think this team would probably face. Do you want to hold it at this point to the 8th and hope that you can get 3 and then not have to worry about giving that hammer back to Prince Edward Island?
It would need to be a strategy discussion. I mean, they would have certainly not mind picking up, let's say, 2 in the next end and then aiming for a steal of 1 or 2 in the 8th. But if the opportunity came, it is very hard in the 8th end to set up with that amount of pressure on you and your team. So they'll have to probably discuss that as a team. But again, it's difficult to find time to discuss things like that when you do only have 7.5 minutes left to play.
Without a timeout.
Yeah.
And just like we said multiple times, a timeout would be so handy at this point in the game.
Yeah, I'm sure they would. They'd give quite a bit for a timeout.
Right now, I'm sure they're just rooting for a Prince Edward Island timeout.
Yeah, they wouldn't mind that at all. But I can't see Prince Edward Island, the way things are set up, needing one if this style of play keeps up.
And of course, Prince Edward Island in the back of their mind would know that a timeout they called would possibly, more than likely, benefit this Newfoundland team who hasn't had a chance to break.
Yeah.
So right now, this thinking time ticking through a little bit for Prince Edward Island. We see once again this one-hit game.
Yeah, they're just looking to keep things clean. Leslie Noy just playing a straight hit on this one.
So here is the skip for Prince Edward Island. His favorite food, ice cream.
Ice cream. Very good. Seems to be a man of the cold. Spends a lot of time on the curling ice, so ice cream doesn't overly surprise me.
And of course, it's a pretty sweet treat that I'm sure he'll enjoy today, Easter Sunday. He'll be back home in time.
Yes.
Lives in Alberton.
The way this game's going, he may be enjoying it after at least a top 4 finish. If their style of play keeps up, they've been fairly dominant so far in this game, especially in the 4th end, picking up 5.
And taking a peek at the bronze medal preview, it looks like we'll see a Prince Edward Island battle.
Yes, it looks that way. It'll be PEI versus the host PEI team. So a rematch of the last game of the under-18 provincial.
What is their history, those two teams?
They've played each other quite a bit. So you see a bit of a rivalry. It's not a bad team relationship. They just obviously play each other a lot, and therefore they both want to win every time they play. And they seem to be fairly evenly matched when doing so.
That Alex McFadgen team, the hosts here, of course, with this tournament. 2-2 so far here. So the winner will advance to play Team McFadgen at the bronze medal game. That will take place, I believe, on sheet 1 at 1 o'clock.
It will, yeah. So that should be a decent game there.
But of course, we do have that gold medal games between New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. Right now, some tight, it's kind of spread a little bit, I suppose, between Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. But still, we know either team can win that game.
Definitely. The girls' Nova Scotian team just seeming to have a bit of a lapse there. I mean, you look at the scoreboard up until the 5th end, and it's 3-3. So that 6-ender really stands out, and definitely not typical. I can't imagine that the Kristen Clark team would give up too many 6-enders. So they'll definitely be looking to rebound from that in the gold medal match later today.
And of course, that could be motivation for this team.
It could be, yeah. They'll want to redeem themselves. Big shot coming on ice 1. On our ice as well, as Leslie Noy hits to sit 2.
There is the hit and freeze. And now no double opportunity.
No, and Ryan McNeil Lambswood just drawing for his single point here. So he will give up the hammer, and if this is made, he'll be down 7-5. Thanks.
So for McNeil Lambswood, what does he have to do right now?
He's just looking to draw in there. He'll need the full 8 foot for his single point. So a good force by Leslie Noy here in the 6th end. A well-played end. Getting an opportunity for a force when it appeared to be a blank. So.
And you're okay with that, considering you only give up 1 point. You're
Absolutely.
already up by 3.
Yeah, being up 2 with the hammer is definitely a strong position to have later in a game.
And of course, this shot does have to work. It looks quite strong right now.
It does. This is not looking good at all.
This could be a devastating blow. It will be a devastating blow for Newfoundland.
So that's a steal of 2 for PEI, so they will lead 9-4.
And now, could you see handshakes right now?
It's possible. I mean, not gonna go out and say it's going to happen as they're preparing to throw their last rock here, or throw their first one at the end.
So at the start of 7, even with the way things have gone, Newfoundland is still gonna stick this one out.
Yeah, they seem to be at least playing one more end, so they certainly have the time to at least do that. I don't know if it was an 8-end game, they'd be running very tight, so 7 seems like a good possibility.
And of course, with under 6 to go, an 8-end game probably seems unlikely.
It does, for looking at not only the time, but especially the scoreboard. We see a timeout called over on sheet 1 at the moment, so those teams with quite a setup. Matthew Manuel making a great shot on his first to lie 1 on the top 4 foot, and New Brunswick looking at a way to eliminate that one for a possibility of a score 3.
Are you surprised to see the games on 1 and 4 being taken so seriously when there's really no implications?
Not really. I mean, those teams will definitely. A New Brunswick-Nova Scotia rivalry is historically a big one, so you never want to have a slack game, especially when the final is coming up, and they'll want to use that as leverage for both the mental side and the play itself of the final.
Here is Galant's shot. And just in case this game does early, we'll go through any possible shoutouts right now. So Ryan McNeil Lanswood, the skip of Newfoundland, wants to give a shout out to Kyle Baring, of course, and the whole family who is watching back home. Home for him, of course, in corner, or actually, yes, he's in Stephenville.
Yeah.
And now English is shooting. This shot from Newfoundland coming in just along the center line. And of course, for Matthew English, we gave a shout out to his girlfriend Olivia, who woke up at 7 a.m. And for Craig Lang, a shout out to Kyle Barron once again and the parents. So that is the Newfoundland shout outs. And for Prince Edward Island, we wanted to give a shout out from Leslie Noy for Sharon and Mike. Alex Gallant didn't have any shout outs at all. Dylan Vincent for his grandfather John, and for Jacob Wilkins. I don't see anyone. And a fall there. Several falls for Wilkins. And he gets back up. That was a messy play.
That was, yeah. Bit of a TSN worst play of the day on that one. But the shot's made, so...
Somehow.
Sure. Yeah, somehow.
Somehow it doesn't affect that shot.
Nicely done by Wilkins to avoid hitting the rock. So, yeah, eliminates the guard, and little bit of pride lost there, but nothing more than that.
Pride doesn't really matter when you're up by 5, I suppose.
No, you're all right with a little slip up as if you have a lead like that.
Of course, the score 9-4 for the Islanders. We're in the 7th end here. This game determines who goes on to face the host team in the bronze medal game at 1 o'clock here from Montague.
So Dylan Vincent throwing some heat on this one.
A lot of power this time.
Yeah.
This is a bullet down the ice, and they're still sweeping it. Not that it really needed any extra
right
care.
on the nose, so a bit of an unfortunate break. Good for Newfoundland, but still, they will need to get quite a bit of rocks in play on that one to hope to make this a game.
And you can just tell Prince Edward Island's playing this style of, if we keep a few rocks in play at most, they can't win.
Yeah. They're a good hitting team, so they'll be very pleased with playing an end like that, where it's just very simple, straightforward hits.
And I believe that game between Nova Scotia and New Brunswick has come to an end now.
It has,
the girls.
Yeah. New Brunswick pulling away with the win there, so they have a good advantage going into the gold medal game. Bit of a mental step up over the Nova Scotian girls, but that should be a much closer game, I would imagine, this afternoon on Ice 2, which we'll be doing the call for as well.
Kristen Clark's rink has definitely already started planning for that 1 o'clock game and
Yeah,
how they can benefit from this tough loss.
They definitely would have had a few weaknesses exposed that game, and they'll be looking to make those a bit stronger, I'd say.
Here comes a heavy Yellowstone delivered by Wilkins. He's going to hit his own.
So just missing the run back on that one. Needed to curl just a fraction more. Good effort there. Unfortunately, does leave a perfect guard up.
Once again, getting loud here in Montague.
It is. People are getting rowdy. It must be the church crowd coming in.
Oh, that actually makes more sense today.
It does.
Easter Sunday church crowd, probably very likely, actually.
So Craig Lang throwing his here.
And Brooks, it almost seems impossible to go to an eighth just based on thinking time. Just about 4 minutes left for Newfoundland.
It's really not likely at all. Here on the third stones for Craig Lang, looking to draw one in there.
Are you even surprised that we saw a seventh?
In a way, I am. I can't see how they would consider coming back from that 5-point deficit. But I can see the point of just playing it, because they will, assuming this loss, they will not be playing this afternoon. So they want to get a good end to their Atlantic experience, I'd say. Jacob Wilkins playing the hit here.
And it goes in just the tick. There he goes. And two stones will go with that.
Yeah. So Greg Lang with an opportunity to make that same shot better than he did on his first one.
Lang says no sweep, no sweep.
Seems to be all there.
Looks very powerful. We've seen a few slide through for Newfoundland. Doesn't look like this will be one.
That will sit. It is, however, completely open, so easily hittable for PEI. So Leslie Noy going to be throwing a bit of weight at this one. If he can, he would love to get the double, but just eliminating one is definitely a priority here. Don't want to get too fancy and breeze right by.
The last thing you would need if you're Prince Edward Island to give a chance for Newfoundland to get a steal of 2 or 3 here.
Yeah, you don't want to give them any life. They're definitely looking to take the gloves off after this end here. PEI hoping to wrap things up, but they will have to make their shots here, as they have been throughout most of the game.
So you think a pretty easy single takeout, not a double with this?
Yeah, a double is a bonus, but they're definitely just going for the one. May get the second one here, too.
And they're going to get the double with that one,
and
too.
They will.
A
That's
beautiful
a great shot by Leslie Noy. Really nice shot. Well thrown.
And that may have just taken all the wind out of Newfoundland sails, if there was any left at all.
If there was any, it's gone now.
They'll have to put their jetpacks on just to avoid the time thing anyway.
Yeah, they'll need to hurry things up. But I'd say the handshakes are already on their way.
Here is McNeil Lansworth, possibly his second last shot here in the tournament. Almost certainly his second last shot, actually. This one, a line drive down the center. Not much curl to it, just a little bit. It will sneak off the center. Nice shot. Finds the back yellow stone.
Good shot from McNeil Amswood. So just gets rather close to that guard and well thrown.
Coming down ice right now, here is Noy. This team, like we said, they have been together for 3 years from Alberton, and they have a chance now to win. Basically, I know it would be bronze, but in a sense, they win a provincial title if they win it here.
Yeah, they're really looking at a rematch of the under-18 provincial, and what that means is that they're able to kind of confirm what they showed in the provincial event.
When, of course, they won the provincials.
Yeah. So some heavy sweeping here from the front end of Team Noy, and that will catch the guard.
And so that's a bit of a tough break.
Ryan McNeil Amswood with a draw for 2 here. If this is made, we may actually see some 8th end action, although it will be tough with the 3.5 minutes that they have to play that.
I don't know how they would be able to do it.
I don't know.
You'd have to have zero thinking time at all.
Yeah.
It's just quick back and forth. Because, of course, just going down the ice takes about 15 seconds out of your sails anyway. So now we see 3 sweepers getting ready for this one.
Sweeper coming in.
Very light.
Yeah, definitely needing to go on that one.
Crosses the hog line right now. And it will enter the house.
Fine. Yeah, it's a good shot for his second point, Ryan McNeil Amswood. We
don't see handshakes yet. Looks like we're going for an 8th.
Yeah, they'll try to steal 3 or more for moving on here. Not likely, but definitely worth playing for if they have the opportunity.
And of course, this clock not ticking right now. 3:27 left on it. Should it be going right now?
No, it's because it's the first end. The first shot of the end, it doesn't start yet. Because the team needs their time to get the rocks put away and prepare and everything.
Talk about playing a game to the full, though.
Yeah.
Not giving any breaks. We're almost approaching the 2-hour mark. We saw a 2-hour and 1-minute game here on day 1. So here in the 5th draw of the tournament, this one not lacking any time at all.
Yeah, they seem to be going the whole way on this one.
And if you're Prince Edward Island, you have to be a little disappointed with your performance in the 7th. You had a chance to close them out in a few mishaps.
Just really Leslie Noy's last one, taking that guard. If that's made, then I can't see them playing this one. But or if so, it will be a very quick end. But yeah, Noy just wanting to keep things clean and finish it off in this end here.
And this one here just travels right through. What do we see there?
That's just putting it through so that they don't have... Newfoundland Labrador doesn't have anything to work with as in terms of enemy rocks to freeze to or, come off of or anything like that. So they just want to...
So this Prince Edward Island team feels they have a better chance of keeping stones alive by hitting them off another rock.
Yeah, I mean, if you have something to... even potentially something to hit and jam on for themselves. They don't want any opportunities like that because that is really in an end like this, and knowing that the team that they are, that's the only way that a steal could arise that would, be sufficient enough to tie things up here.
And of course, for Newfoundland to win this game, you need to steal 4. To go to extra ends, you need to steal 3.
Yeah, and not an easy task at all when they've only been able to get 2 when having the hammer. No steals for the Newfoundland team. A decent setup off the bat here, though, with 2 guards thrown up. Alex Gallant throwing, again, his rock through the house, just to give nothing to work with for the Newfoundland boys.
Have you ever seen a comeback completed when it was like this situation?
No, I haven't seen a steal of 3 in the last end, but myself, I have had actually at the Atlantics 2013, I had a steal of 2 in the last end, and in a tournament final, I also had a steal of 2 in the last end, and then that was to tie it up, and actually stole again in the extra end. So it can be done, but it takes some careful shot making. And they'll really need to go on this one. It's on the guard.
And why set up all of these guards? Because you need to get in the house.
Basically, with the 4-rock rule, because the leads can't eliminate any guards from play, you want to throw up your guards first so that you can come around them and that they can't be removed instantly. So as we see here, they'll be trying to get rid of some guards here. Dylan Vincent with the double attempt on these guards on the right-hand side.
So why not remove the guards on your first 2 looks?
That's actually the 4-rock rule. A lead can't take a guard out of play. Yeah,
that's right. We haven't touched that yet this entire tournament.
So this will be close. That'll spill over across and actually leave a stagger. So that's a good shot. Didn't eliminate both guards, but rolled to a decent spot.
And the thinking time continue to dwindle away right now. 2:40 left for Newfoundland. They're really looking at this line drive look. Trying to get inside the house this time.
They are, yeah.
So McNeil Lambswood sets this one up. His boys will need a steal of 3 to get extra ends.
They will,
and
the sweeper's not touching this one. Seems to be coming in just to a guard position, so they'll be looking to block up the front of the house there.
And a bit of a curl this time.
Yeah, it comes up just very tight to the house, so available for a split later on, but it's not looking great if you are Newfoundland to end up stealing.
Quite frankly, it hasn't looked great for Newfoundland probably since the halfway mark of this game.
Since they led 4-2, it's been a bit of an uphill battle for sure.
Prince Edward Island with that huge end where they were able to capitalize with 5 points.
Yeah, that was a big one.
But of course, Newfoundland can't afford to play this style of curling. They have to get rocks in the house, and they have to do it now.
They did get a bit of a miss there from PEI by nosing that peel. So they do have some ammo, basically a hiding place. But they will need to make use of it with this shot by Craig Lang.
When does it become mathematically impossible to win?
If they, those high guards you see can't really be used in a split fashion. So if they have 2 rocks left and nothing in the house, there won't really be an opportunity.
But we always have to assume those rocks could sneak their way into the house.
I suppose so, but realistically, you're not gonna have a bump or whatever by the PEI boys that'll make that come into play.
Now just 2 minutes left in thinking time for Newfoundland. This is by far the most clock we've seen any team chew up here on Sheet 2 in this tournament. Now the island's back up. Do they want to take out that redstone if possible? Inside the house, it looks like that's the target.
Really close to the guard. So they will just peel the guard off, and that's fine. That's a good way to miss that. They were fine getting rid of either the guard or the
guard was posing a bit of a problem for them anyway.
Yeah, it wasn't helping them, even though it was their rock.
So probably one more good takeout by Prince Edward Island would end this game.
Yeah, it looks that way. I mean, there's not really anywhere to hide here. And just a reminder, at 1 o'clock Atlantic time, so exactly 2 hours from now, we will have the gold medal game in the women's division. That will include New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. They really wanted that rock to touch. Yeah, that's and it's also not covering the shot rock at all. So very open hit here for Jacob Wilkins of Team PEI.
This one just leaves the center line. It will be a good look that time.
There you have it. Even sticks around, which is a bit of a bonus. Does leave them a bit of a freeze opportunity, but even if that is made, then PEI can probably make some damage with whatever's left for them.
Newfoundland refusing to quit right now. It's all up to the skip. I don't know how we could do it though.
No, it's tough the way things are set up at the moment. You'd need definitely a miss from Newfoundland, or sorry, from PEI.
You'd need two
need
misses,
a couple
really.
of them. Yeah. What PEI can do here, even if this is made by getting rid of that rock just to the right of the center line, they'll really get rid of all the options that are there for 3.
And of course they do need 3 in the house to at least advance 2 extra ends. So they would have to advance one of their other stones too.
They would, yeah. They'd need to split that one off, and this one's coming in a little warm. So what Noy can do here is really play the hit on either of those. He'll be going for the one that was just thrown back 4 foot, and if this is eliminated, that will be the game.
So that red stone, if it doesn't stick around after this next shot by Noy, we are done here of regulation play, and I'm going to say round robin play in this tournament, and then it is on to the finals that will take place here in about 2 hours on Sheet 2 between Nova Scotia and New Brunswick women. I want to thank everyone for joining us here on this broadcast on Bell Alliant Community 1 of the Under-18 Atlantic Provincial Curling Championships. This stone looks like it's lined up pretty well. Lots of power to it.
And there you have it. That will be the game for Team Leslie Noy taking the win, and they will advance to the bronze medal game this afternoon.
All right, that is it for us on Bell Alliant Community 1. We will be back for gold at 1 o'clock, so make sure you're with us here from Montague.